When I think about starting a collection, I think about fragrances that are easy, mass appealing, compliment getting, and relatively affordable. Let's talk about 15 of those.
Here's some codes to save you some cash on your next Middle Eastern niche or designer fragrances.
What's going on, guys? My name is Neeb. Welcome back to AROMATIX. We're going to be talking about 15 fragrances that are perfect for a beginner. The things that I factor in when talking about beginner-based fragrances is fragrances that are mass appealing, compliment worthy, and safe. They're pretty much essentially safe blind buys. That's essentially what these are. There are certain scent profiles that might not be, as close to some of these cheapies, but in a sense, it does it a favor. So something like Creed Aventus, it might be too smoky or birchy for a lot of people, and they might not actually enjoy that. And so the fragrance that I picked here now is going to be, and this is going to be the first recommendation, a more smooth and better take on the Aventus DNA. I'm going to offer two recommendations, and it's really up to you. I'll tell you guys a little bit of the differences. And it's going to be Montblanc Explorer along with Afnan's Supremacy Not Only Intense. So both of these fragrances are really good. And what I think that they both do is a good, softer, easier version of Creed Aventus. This one, however, smells a little bit more refined than Supremacy Not Only Intense, but Supremacy Not Only Intense is like 10 plus hours of longevity. It has a bit more of like this ambroxan DNA, and the opening is a bit harsher than something like Montblanc Explorer. This is a fruity batch, essentially, of Creed Aventus, and that is as well. So really, it's up to you. This is safe, it's easy, you're gonna get it, you're gonna rock it, and you're gonna smell good. I get about 5 to 6 hours of longevity with this one, while as Supremacy Not Only Intense, like I said, it's about 10 plus hours. So it really comes down to what you're looking for. Both are great options. Supremacy Not Only Intense, I think, can be a little bit more expensive than this one. So what it comes down to is a couple of factors. It's going to be, are you looking for performance? Supremacy Not Only Intense. Are you looking for better refinement? This is going to be the better option. Explorer. Both of them are relatively safe. This is definitely safer in my opinion in terms of the refinement and polish. But if you're asking me best bang for buck, Supremacy Not Only Intense will definitely take it depending on what it's selling for today. Because the prices definitely vary. I'll put both of them down in the description. Do a little bit of research and see which one costs a little bit less. And then factor in all of the other things that I spoke about in terms of like performance and scent, refinement. And you ultimately have to make your own decision. But both of them are excellent options for those of you that want to get a taste of Creed Aventus on a budget and you're just starting your collection. So there you go. That's the first recommendation. Second recommendation, I was thinking back to some of my earlier days when picking up a lot of these Middle Eastern fragrances, and this was a steal at the time, and I absolutely fell in love with this, and I would still recommend this to this very day. It's mass appealing, it's sweet, it's fresh, it's pineapple. It's not necessarily Creed Aventus, but you could say that it's arguably a twist of it. It's got this super sweet pineapple along with this spun sugar Baccarat Rouge vibe, but it is definitely closer to something like Paco Rabanne's Black Excess, the old formulation. This is Qaed Al Fursan by Lattafa. I love this stuff. It genuinely is a love of mine. To this very day, it's still a love of mine. I've rocked this to hell and back, literally, and I'm shaking it. Man, the amount of people that have stolen a bottle off of me, this is probably like the 8th bottle. Really good, really mass appealing. If you're looking for something for office, school, gym, this is it, man. Qaed Al Fursan is excellent. I wish it performed just a little bit better than the 6 hours that I get today, but still, really good. You wanna make sure to spray this on at about like 8 times, seriously. Thinking back to the first 2 fragrances that I mentioned, I think it's pretty important to mention how many sprays you should rock some of these fragrances, considering if you're watching this, then you're probably likely to be starting your collection and you want like the best range. So I'm going to give you my range and how I get decent performance out of it. For something like Montblanc Explorer, I would personally spray this about 8 to 10 times as well. And something like Afnan's Supremacy Not Only Intense, I wouldn't spray that more than 5 to 6 times because it is considered beast mode. So beast mode fragrance is about 4 to 6 sprays, while as average fragrance is about 8 to 10 sprays. And anything that's weak, I generally go from like 10 to 12 sprays, and that's where I keep it at. Next fragrance is Bubblegummy Sweet, Sexy, Fresh. Simple as that. Utility night fragrance. You can wear this school, gym, office, all of that good stuff. Rayhaan Pacific. This essentially smells like Invictus Aqua on a budget. For under 30 bucks, this is a no-brainer, very easy, and compliment worthy for sure. So if you're just starting a collection, you want something that's what they call bubblegummy and fresh, this is a great one to start off with. Rayhaan Pacific. Not much more needed to be said. I would personally spray this at about 8 times as well. 6 to 8 times with this one, and you're set. Next one is also sweet, fresh, and sexy. sexy, but it's a bit sweeter and it's more muskier, a bit more grown up and less playful or youthful. I find this one to genuinely be a freshie that's sexy. This is called Shiyaaka for Men Blue. Underrated gem right here. Seriously, I would spray this on about 6 to 8 times, maybe 6 to 7 times really, because it performs. This one gives me, with those amount of sprays, about 8 hours. A sleeper fragrance, genuinely that good. It smells like Bleu de Chanel, but a little bit sweeter. And for me, that makes it even sexier. This is a good one. Definitely a good one. Another fresh fragrance. This isn't really gonna get you many compliments. It's fresh, it's easy, it smells like Acqua di Gio. You know, a lot of people talk about Acqua di Gio, and if you're just starting your collection, I'm sure you've seen like 10 or 20 videos talking about Acqua di Gio. But starting out, you start to look at the price tags and you're like, what the heck am I getting myself into? This is easier on the eyes, and it does that Acqua di Gio Profondo DNA, but for much cheaper, and it's Azzaro Chrome Extreme. I've been rocking this for a long time. This has kind of been a hidden gem for me personally. To the gym, to the office, very easy, inoffensive. You're just gonna smell clean. Don't expect too much, but that's kind of the case with Acqua di Gio fragrances. And this, it does it for cheaper, much cheaper. So if you're looking to smell clean, fresh, and just easy, this is the one to go with for sure. I would personally spray this on about 8 to 10 times. It is relatively weak and kind of inoffensive. You can get away with it. There isn't anything that's gonna be abrasive, standoffish, or too sweet. Actually, this is getting relatively hyped. Like, a lot of people are starting to pick this one up, but yeah, it's a good one. Next one is another designer fragrance, and this is a designer cheapie, and this smells a little bit like that Invictus Aqua DNA with its own thing, to be honest. It smells more of a genuine bubblegum, like Hubba Bubba. Yeah, it's pretty good, actually. This is Montblanc Legend Spirit. You're not gonna get more than about 4 hours out of this fragrance, but I personally, even though it's a weaker fragrance, I wouldn't recommend spraying this more than 8 times because of the fact that it's sweet in nature. If you spray it more than that, the first hour and stuff is just, it gets overdone for sure. So 6 to 8 sprays with this one, you're gonna get about 4 to 6 hours. 6 hours is the cap. If you're going to school, maybe keep it in your book bag, but personally, 4 to 6 hours and you're more than good enough with this one. A great fragrance that has gotten me a lot of compliments. YSL Eau de Parfum is a great starter fragrance, and it's actually more interesting than most starter fragrances, but it also comes with a pretty hefty price tag. But these two fragrances, it comes with a lower price tag and they get stupidly close. Don't sleep on these Middle Eastern fragrances, man. These are like best value for sure. And that's exactly the case with Sheikh Al Shuyookh Final Edition. Try to say it. Actually, please try and say it. Sheikh Al Shuyookh Final Edition. This actually gets extremely close, and it doesn't really capture the opening of the fragrance, but the mid to dry down, that's what this bad boy is. I get 8 hours out of this fragrance, and I personally spray it on about 6 to 8 times. A great fragrance, sweet, fresh, clean. But also there's another alternative, and really this is another case where you can check out some of the price differences, etc. But this one lasts just as long and actually gets the DNA in its entirety from the top to the dry down. Starts off bubblegummy fresh, gets ambery, warmer, aromatics as well. The channel as well, make sure to subscribe. And this is called Armaf Odyssey Mega, the second best YSLY Eau de Parfum. Easy, no-brainer, school, office, gym, literally everywhere. You can take this and walk your granny to the 7-Eleven, and this would be a perfect fragrance for that occasion. This right here, both of them. All of them. That's what this list is about. Well, we're getting into sexy fragrances, so hold your horses. Next one's another designer fragrance, and before you laugh, I know I haven't shopped in Hollister since like frickin' I don't even remember. I don't think I ever really shopped there, but I have purchased a couple of swim shorts, I guess, or board shorts. This is Hollister's Festival Night. Don't sleep on this fragrance. For under 30 bucks, it's well worth the money. It smells like a hybrid of 1 Million and YSL L'Homme. And it actually performs 6 to 8 hours easily with only about 6 to 8 sprays. Don't sleep on this fragrance. It's loud, it's projecting, it got me numerous compliments. It's sexy, sweet, fresh, zingy, and sweet. Wait, I said sweet twice. But that's a lot of accords, which basically means a lot of things you're going to smell. You're gonna smell a lot of things, you're gonna stand out, and you're gonna be noticed with this. This next fragrance is fresh, musky. It's like Chanel Allure Homme Sport. That fragrance comes with a hefty price tag. This one doesn't. This is called Al Dirgham by Zafaran. It smells like citruses, musks, and that's pretty much it. Fresh, citrus, musky. Chanel Allure Homme Sport. So damn good, so versatile, so easy. As a beginner, that's exactly what you need. A lot of these have a little bit more than some of that, but even though this is less uses of descriptors, so if you'll notice, I just said easy, fresh, musky, which is less than sexy, sweet, fresh, you know, etc. It's still worth the money because it's very good at what it does and it's really easy and inoffensive. If you're just wanting to smell clean, you want to go to the gym, you don't necessarily want to smell sweet, this is definitely a must-have. I'd spray this on about 8 to 10 times, and anytime I've rocked it like that, it's lasted me a solid 6 hours, up into 8-hour mark. And for Chanel Allure Homme Sport DNA, that's really not bad. Sauvage Elixir is another fragrance that a lot of people love. It's about $180 for a little rinky-dink 2 ounce, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. At discounters, maybe $150, still ridiculous. ridiculously priced. This is by far my favorite inspired by Enigma Une. It is closer than Lattafa's Asad. It's definitely closer, man. It's got all of the spices, the same thing. The main difference, or the most difference you're gonna detect, is in the opening. It's a little bit more peppery. But to be real with you guys, if you don't enjoy the peppers or the spice, you don't enjoy the original DNA. It's very evidently spicy from the top to the dry down. Sure, this one does a little bit more of the licorice, which is that spicy note, but for the most part, and especially after the first 20 minutes, it dries down into Sauvage Elixir, and much closer than Lattafa's Asad. Lattafa's Asad is another great beginner fragrance as well, but since it is marketed as Dior Sauvage Elixir, in terms of how close it gets, this is closer. Lattafa's Asad is still fantastic. Also, alternative to that fragrance, it's more vanillic, more subdued. If you like the original and you like how loud it is and how spicy it is, this is the one you want to go with. If you want it but toned down, more vanillic, then go with Lattafa's Asad. Both of them have excellent compliment factors, and I've gotten a lot of compliments. Actually, I've gotten more compliments with Enigma Une, if I'm being real, and I think that's why I like it. But Lattafa's Asad is still fantastic, and I think it was the first one to come out. So if you have that one, it's great, but if you really wonder whether or not this is different, it definitely is. It's better in my opinion. For the price differences, however, I think that Lattafa's Asad is still a valid pickup. Asad you can find for around 20 to 25 bucks. This is around 30 to 40 bucks. So you get what you pay for, genuinely. For Enigma Une, I wouldn't recommend spraying this more than 6 times. It's not that it's going to be the longest lasting fragrance. It gives you about 8 hours, but the projection for the first hour to 2 hours, it's extremely loud. And if you spray it more than 6 to 8 times, it can kind of be off-putting. So 6 to 8 times is where I put the cap. Test it out for yourself. Start off with 4, then tread into 6, and then try out 8. If 4 is good enough for you, or if it's too much, scale it down. This is a more spicy fragrance, so you got to be careful with this one. The next one is also sweet, sexy, spicy. This is, oh my god, man. Celerio Epic by Dumont. This is a hybrid of Lattafa's Khamra. If you haven't heard about Khamra, it's basically this inspired by her twist of angel share. Well, really, it's not angel share, it's Qisasava. Essentially a DNA that revolves itself around this apple pie vibe, boozy, apple, cinnamon, sexy, and unisex fragrance. You have to enjoy sweet fragrances. This is a combination of the original angel share and a blend with Khamra. So it's angel share, it's that boozy apple pie, but spicier with cinnamon. It is relatively unisex, but this one, out of most of the inspired buys, leans a bit more masculine. Gentlemen, you're gonna absolutely love this. If you like sweet fragrances, please make sure you like sweet fragrances and spicy. You will absolutely love it. Beast mode stuff. I personally wouldn't recommend spraying this more than 5 to 6 times, and even 4 times you're good. I remember spraying this about 6 times and it lasted on clothing for 3 freaking days. It's a pretty decent price tag. It's definitely not designer, and you're getting more than designer quality with this one and performance. So at 55 bucks, this is well worth the money. You definitely want to check this one out. And yes, I thought about doing Lattafa Khamra on this list, but I genuinely believe this one to be better. There's a new one as well. It's called Khamra Qahwa, but it's not as safe or as mass appealing as something like this or even the original Khamra. So yeah, this is going to be the best one in my opinion. So out of all of them, I think this one's going to be the most mass appealing, and especially in terms of beginners, but you have to make sure you enjoy that sweet, sexy, spicy vibes for sure. I did think about Kismet and a lot of the inspired buys, but the original DNA itself, which Kismet is close to, is pretty unisex, and it's not the safest for recommending for beginners. This one, like I said, I wouldn't recommend spraying it more than 4 to 6 times. If you're feeling testy, go for the 6 times, but yeah, that's what I think. Another sexy fragrance. So now we're talking about date night fragrances, essentially. This is gonna be exactly that, a date night fragrance, or you just wanna wear a sweet fragrance. It doesn't necessarily have to be just date night. Don't limit some of these fragrances to just date night. I know a lot of people that like wearing sweet fragrances, including myself, and I remember watching reviews or reviewers say these are date night fragrances, and I would just wonder, am I wearing these at the wrong time? But no, really, that's not the case. If you like sweet fragrances, you can wear this any time of year, but it's best in date nights. This is going to be Epoque Artistique. It's Invictus Victory Elixir. My favorite one. It takes a little bit of the earthy edge off, and it makes it a bit more mass appealing. I've gotten compliments while rocking this, even to the gym. I've rocked this to the gym, guys. If you like sweet fragrances, get it, and you could do the same. Epoque Artistique by Khadlaj. I sprayed this on about 8 times, and it gives me a solid 8 to 10 hours. Really not bad for the price point. All right, we're down to the last 2. This is called Eau De Spice Extreme. I remember trying to get Spice Bomb Extreme when I was in high school, I believe, or in college, and for the longest time, I was like, man, do I really want to spend like $95 to $130 on a fragrance? Like, that's kind of steep. You know how many Chipotle bowls I can buy? And so I looked around, and I came across this years ago, but it was discontinued for so long. Finally back in stock after so many years, and this is actually really freaking good. For under 45 or under 40 bucks even, this is an absolute must-have. It's like melted ice cream vanilla with sexy spices. That's it. Sweet, sexy. Not fresh, but sweet and sexy. You can rock this everywhere, man. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I pulled this off at the gym, but like I said, you have to like sweet fragrances. If you don't like sweet fragrances and you try to wear a sweet fragrance in, you know, a season that's anything other than winter, you're not really gonna enjoy it. But for me, I enjoyed this all year. Love it. Last one on this list is sexy, mysterious vibes. It's La Nuit de l'Homme. Blue Electrique though, so a bit more versatile than that one. And this is called Jack of Clubs by Fragrance World. This is sexy cardamom spice, a little bit of peppers, and some woods. Very mass appealing. There's an addition of lavender in this one, just like the Blue Electrique. Fire stuff. This was and is, in my opinion, a must-have. Jack of Clubs by Fragrance World. You can rock this one in like a multitude of occasions. I've even rocked this one to the gym, gotten compliments as well. There isn't one way or place you should wear your fragrances, honestly. It really depends on your taste, your climate. Some people don't even live in climates that's hot or climates that's cold, and they still like to wear these types of fragrances. Sexy, sweet, spicy. You really got to figure out what you enjoy wearing and what works on you, basically for yourself. This fragrance gives me about 8 hours of performance, and I spray it on about a good 6 to 8 times. So that's kind of the range that I stick to when rocking this one. Jack of Clubs by Fragrance World. Please keep in mind that the range for the sprays is really just what I stick to. You can test it out and start off very low, and that's my recommendation. I would personally start off with like 2 sprays, but if it's not doing it for you, if it's not lasting, you're not getting your compliments and etc. First off, you know, set realistic expectations. You're not gonna get compliments with every single fragrance, but also if you're not getting the performance that you expected, try and, you know, dabble into my range of sprays for fragrances. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and until the next one, peace.